Hi, it's Sky, and this is my 2014 wrap-up and favorites video. Today I want to talk about how many books I read this year and which ones were my favorites, and I've separated my favorites into favorite rereads and favorite new reads because I did reread several books this year. I do reread a lot. At some point I may just do a favorites video, my favorites of all time, so that I quit having to repeat all of these books that I reread. Sometimes when I get in a reading slump, I will pick up one of my go-to favorite books and read that to kind of get me into the reading mood again or get me interested in a specific genre or something. So I read 54 books in 2014, which is not a lot in comparison to a lot of people on BookTube, but I didn't set a goal for myself, so really anything was good for me. And considering the year before that, I probably read like 10 books or less. I think 2014 was pretty good for me. This year I read a lot of Kindle freebies or cheap books on the Kindle, a lot of indie authors because I'm really short on money and I couldn't buy a whole lot of books. I'm hoping in 2015 I can do a little bit better financially and buy books with extra money, if there's extra money. So to start off my 2014 favorites, I am going to talk about my favorite rereads. And the first one I read this year is Twilight. I love this book so much. I've probably reread this series more times than any other, even more than Harry Potter. I think I've read through all 4 of these like 5 times or 6 times. I don't know, a lot of times. But I picked it up at the beginning of this year because I just couldn't think of anything that I wanted to read, and I think I went like almost the whole month of February without reading at all, and I was just frustrated, so I said, okay, I know I love this, I'm gonna reread it. It's been like 3 years since I had read it last, and it worked. I read all 4 of them in a month or so, and I was ready to go on my reading again. So the next reread that I did this year, I did in August, and that was Outlander. Yay. The TV series that comes on Starz started up in August or somewhere around that time. I don't know. I don't have Starz, and I still haven't seen all of the episodes. Everyone was so hyped up on Outlander, and it had been so long since I read these books. I think it was 2009 the last time I read Outlander. Oh, and I also read Dragonfly and Amber and Voyager this year, which are all rereads. These books are fantastic. Well, I say that, I haven't actually read the whole series because last time I picked these up, I read up to An Echo in the Bone, no, I didn't read An Echo in the Bone, but I read everything before that. And now there is another book out, so I'm 2 books behind in this series, and I'm going to try to reread and catch up, read them all, and then wait 5 years like everybody else for the next book to come out. If you live under a rock and you don't know what Outlander is about, it is about a woman who is in the 1940s and travels back in time to the 1700s and ends up in all sorts of predicaments. She has the worst luck. Well, I won't say she has the worst luck, but some really awful things happen to her and she ends up in just the craziest situations. But our young Jamie is always there to rescue her. And Jamie Fraser, if you want a book boyfriend, read this book. Jamie Fraser will be your newest book boyfriend. Okay, so on to my new reads, my favorites for 2014. The first one I want to talk about is The Summer I Turned Pretty trilogy. These books. I was not in the summer spirit at all this year. I didn't go swimming, I didn't go to the beach, I didn't even want to. I didn't get a tan, nothing. I didn't even buy a bathing suit. I didn't care about summer. It was just hot and I wanted it to be Christmas. But I picked up this book. It was just a random impulse buy at Walmart, of all places. I felt like I lived through a whole summer while I was reading this, and it took less than a week for me to read it. And I was in such a summer spirit. There's just something about these books that really captures that essence of summer. The storyline is about a girl named Belly who has, for her entire life, gone to a summer house in the summer where her mother's best friend also brings her children, 2 boys, to stay the summer. So Belly and the 2 boys, Conrad and Jeremiah, they've known each other since they were babies, and of course there were some crushes developed along the way, and I won't give you any spoilers, but there's all sorts of mess and a love triangle, but it works. There's not so much of that angst that you find in so many young adult contemporaries. It really feels, you really feel like it's serious. Like, even when it's something so trivial as does he like me or does he not like me, it still feels like it's the end of the world. It's very well written. I want to read all of Jenny Han's books. I did buy To All the Boys I've Loved Before recently, and I want to get to that, and I will probably read everything from this author from now on. I mentioned that I read a lot of indie authors this year, so I want to tell you about my favorite one, if I can find it. C.L. Stone. I don't know if you can see that, there's so much glare. It is the first book in her Ghostbird series. It is free, so you can go get it if you want it, or have a Kindle or a Nook or iPad, whatever reading device you might own. You can get the first book in this series for free. I really am reluctant to tell you what it's about because it sounds so stupid on the description. I'm afraid that it will turn you off, but it's a reverse harem story. So there is a main character who is female, and she befriends 9 other boys, men, and they kind of take her under their wing and fall in love with her, and she falls in love with them, but it's not what you're thinking. It's not all erotica or anything like that. There isn't even any kissing until much later, like the 6th book or something. The main character is really believable. She's really troubled. She had a horrible upbringing and is abused by her mother. All of the boys in the series are likable. It's not one of those, like pretty much every other love triangle series, where you really love this one guy and you suffer through all the parts with the other guy in it. And this is not like that. You love all of them. And it's never boring because she's always with one of them, and there's always ooey gooey fluff going on. I guess maybe if you don't like that stuff, you probably shouldn't read it. But if you do love that stuff, kind of Twilight-ish, fluffy romance with adorable boys and a really relatable main character, then yes, I would very much recommend the Ghostbird series by C.L. Stone. And the last book on my new reads favorites for 2014 is Vampire Academy. Oh, glare, sorry. The Vampire Academy series. I read these in April, I guess, March or April. Over the course of a week, I read all 6 of them. There are 6. Well, I read all of them in the series, and they rocked my world. I can't say the same about the movie, unfortunately, but these books, I've got to get a print copy because I have this problem where if I read something on my Kindle, I don't remember it as well as I do if I read a print copy. Someone needs to study that. Is that a thing, or is that just me? But I don't remember it as well as I want to. I want it to be in there forever, in my brain, this book. And it doesn't even feel as good to hug a Kindle book. These books, you know what they're about. Rose and Lissa, they are different races of vampire. Dimitri is another book boyfriend who, if you haven't read these books, I'm sure everyone's read these books, but if you haven't, and you're looking for another book boyfriend, I'm really talking a lot about book boyfriends today, then you need to read this series. There are some heart-wrenching moments, some extremely heart-wrenching moments, but there's happy moments. It has a great ending. It doesn't feel forced. It doesn't feel out of character. It really feels like the story flows to that end point. And I'm really hard to please with endings, and I was very, very pleased with the way this series ended. Okay, so that was my 2014 wrap-up / favorites video. I want to do a 2015 goal video, which I will get to soon. I might be wearing these same clothes and hair and all this stuff because I might do it today. I will see you soon for that. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up and subscribe. I love to see you new subscribers. Hi! See you next time!